anything could happen. That's why I like to build new. That way I don't have to worry about the property for the next 15, 20 years, basically. You know what I'm saying? For the entire time that I'm gonna own a property. Ultimately, I believe that as a homeowner, right? If you own a home, it's going to be upward pressure. The minute that somebody in your household loses a job, the minute that you go on unemployment, you're going to have to still sustain that mortgage. I think that in order for people to get back to the space where it's more affordable for them to live and still for for them to not be house poor, because I know that they pitched y'all, oh, it's better to own a home. You don't really even know the true cost of owning a home. I would never give just some blanket advice to people and say, oh, you just need to own a home. I wouldn't even do that. But if you want to live in a more affordable place, I think that people are going to have to start living back with each other, moving in with their parents, community. And I also think that people are going to have to start moving back into the ghetto. And that's where you start to see gentrification, because people are still going to want to have quality neighborhood, quality property and all of that stuff. But then you're going to have to push the lower income residents out in order for you to be able to survive. And then it becomes a cyclical thing, which is one of the reasons why we need this great reset, because you can't keep going at the same rate that we're going and expecting for things to still be exactly how it's supposed to be. You got to do it differently. And I think that there is going to be a great reset. Obviously, it's a great reset. I think that property values are going to, not property values, but I think that housing prices, the sale prices, in a lot of different places that are affected the most, like DC, where you see a whole lot of homes coming online because it's a whole lot of layoffs and it's a whole lot of fraud that's been going on for a long time. Those property prices are going to come down. And so the purchase prices is going to be the same, but the property taxes is not going to change. And so your affordability is going to be the same. And in order for people to not be house poor, they're going to have to move in some less desirable areas and try to make it desirable. It's just the facts. It's just the truth. That's what I believe is coming. I have not been wrong when it came to predictions, when it comes to real estate and the industry and stock markets and all of that stuff. Make sure y'all tap into the Millionaire Morning Show. Awesome show that I got put together for you guys today. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. I did drop a video today, so that's going to be awesome for you guys. But it's going to be a completely different conversation that we having. People are they're going to have to start moving back into some less desirable areas in most of the places in the country in order for you guys to survive. And I know you don't want to do that and you don't want to have that conversation, but we'll talk about it. Make sure you tap into the Patreon again, and then make sure you subscribe to the channel. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to kick it with you guys in a minute on the Millionaire Morning Show.
Peace to all my gods and goddesses. This is the man, the minor god, MarcoJah, on another episode of the MarcoJah Monologue Tapes. Before I do start, I do want to thank you guys for the views for my second to last tape. It was the album review on Drake. I'm sorry I had to remember. But I wanted to thank y'all. That was a type of video that I maybe thought that, wasn't going to... It's a popular topic right now, but I thought that it was going to get views like it was, because it was slowly climbing. But for the past 2 days, I see the views climbing up. And I want to thank y'all guys for the support, and then as well, I've been getting a lot of views on Instagram too. I really believe in myself when it comes to me being a content creator. I've been trying to do this thing for, I would say, since 2017, 2018, but I would say since late 2022 and beyond. So for the past 2.5 years now, I've been kind of consistent and focused with it and learning more things. But I just want to tell y'all thank y'all, man, and I appreciate y'all. Now let's get into it. This monologue tape is called "The Housing Crisis in the Western World," and we're in the day and age now, man, which I think is very depressing, where majority of adults and including senior citizens, they're living in apartments. It's like society has now turned into an asylum, and most people are in apartments, and it's so hard right now. Now these days to get a home, where homes are now like, to get a good decent home now, it costs millions, especially if you're in the West Coast or if you're in the South or Midwest, and sometimes the East Coast. In the East Coast, it'll cost you millions, but if you're like in the South and the Midwest, it's gonna cost you about, maybe to get a decent home, maybe $300,000 to $500,000 to pay off. And me personally, I've never been a homeowner. And the video that I played before this video start was the Anton Daniels show, where he kind of made an interesting point, where he said the property taxes are going to stay the same. Everybody knows that the cost of living is going up, but wages are not. And right now, President Donald Trump is having a government reset, where he's laying off workers, where they're doing an audit on the government, where he's creating new ideas to jump start the economy. But it's probably we're probably going to see the economy jump back up maybe in the next 2 years. It's going to take some time because a lot of damage was done from the previous administration. I don't want y'all to think uh, a Republican or Democrat, but I'm really neither. But I would say I do have an intense hatred when it comes to Democrats. Not gonna say Democrats in the past, but Democrats, modern day Democrats, '08 and beyond. But what Anton Daniels was saying, and I already know I played the video for y'all already, was he was just saying that people are gonna have to move back and to the ghetto, move back to the hood. People are gonna have to, either us as society, we're gonna have to learn how to get along and marry and live with each other, or some of us is gonna have to live with our parents, because the housing. And I heard like housing is so high right now, especially in Canada. I don't know, I'm not too familiar with the UK, but I just know it's a huge homeless population for it to be a really small country like the way it is. Um, even like living in apartments have become so expensive. I was talking to a young man the other day, and I was just putting him on game. We were talking about women and life, and I told him, man, I remember when rent was like $500, $600, but since where I live in the state of North Carolina, it's been a population boom, because a lot of people from up north have been coming here, and a lot of tech companies have been coming here, and the Raleigh, Durham, Triangle area has grown as well. Greensboro and Charlotte, those are the three biggest cities in North Carolina. So the cost of living has gone up drastically. And I would say I looked up a statistic where it says the average rent, and these are people who are living in apartments, the average rent in the United States of America as of right now is $2,000. It's crazy to me. Now I would say maybe where I'm at in the Raleigh Durham Triangle area, I would say maybe the average what people are paying a rent is maybe 1.5K, and that's just me being generous. Uh, but I really felt Anton really made a very interesting point where he's saying that as couples, people that are starting families, or if you got a girlfriend, boyfriend, or husband, people are going to have to really start getting along together, surviving their marriages, surviving their relationships better to survive. Because the cost of living is so high, where it takes probably more than one income for the average person. Or some people are going to have to move back into with their parents, or which he had a very interesting point where he said that some of us are really going to have to go back and live in the hood, which you see that's what's going on as of right now when it comes to the gentrification. You see a lot of places in the East Coast. See it really mainly in the East Coast, Midwest, South, where project buildings are being torn down and they're making $100,000, $200,000 homes, making new apartments. And at first, I thought gentrification was a bad thing, but I'm kind of seeing it's positive because if us people of color, I see maybe the essays, the Hispanics, they're moving into black neighborhoods and starting restaurants, starting businesses, starting bars. But if us people, black people, are not, um, if we're not spending money in our community, investing in our community, we can't get mad when white Caucasian people come in and gentrify our communities, clean it up. But some people like the gentrification, what's going on, and some people don't. And white people, they're getting ahead of the curve because they're not like, yo, I'm not gonna go to the rich part side of town and pay 3,000, 4,000 for a 2 bedroom apartment where I could go move to a gentrified neighborhood, get a nice house, because you would think white people would be scared to live in these gentrified neighborhoods, but the gentrified neighborhoods, from what I see, nobody bothers them. Nobody bothers them. They go home and they don't even have to drive down into the inner city or hood. They just can back off of their driveway and hit the highway and everything's okay. So gentrification now in the hood is the norm. But I would say, Anton is a really good real estate expert. He said he's been in real estate since the late early 2000s. He predicted the real estate crash in '08. Uh, I do know I love Anton Daniels, and he's one of my favorite YouTubers. Sometimes he can come off as a know-it-all and a narcissist, that's some of my criticism when it comes to him. But when he knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to this real estate, he knows what he's talking about. I would say the option for us, yeah, some of us is gonna have to move back to our parents. Some of us is gonna have to make our marriages work and relationships work. Some of us is gonna have to move to the hood. Me personally, I would recommend a lot of us, especially black people of color and other people of color, we're gonna have to move to more rural areas where we might have to move to more like towns, more in the country, and might have to drive to work 45 minutes, an hour. We might gotta do that. That's what I really want to do, because I'm feeling it. Because I'm having, I just got approved for housing, but I'm feeling it. The toughness of getting shelter, and I don't want to make this video too long, but I want to say before I go, and I spoke on the general population, the everyday average person, but the below average person, the person who is living in hotels, the person who is homeless, maybe living in an abandoned house, maybe living in a tent, maybe couch surfing, going back and forth to relatives, friends' house. In this decade, which we are in the 20s, I would say, as a person uh, who has been on and off homeless for the past maybe 10 years now. I want to say I've been homeless for the majority part of the 10 years, but I've been on and off homeless, just being in crazy different situations, living with crazy women and crazy people. This is the wrong era. This is the wrong time to be homeless. If you're struggling with housing right now, or have been for a couple years, it might behoove you to get your shit together. This is the wrong era, the wrong decade, and I don't think the next decade, which is 5 years from now, is going to be any different. Cause it's so hard now, man. That's why I don't like apartment complexes, cause they discriminate and make it so hard for you to get in there, especially if you're an undesirable citizen. So that's what I would say. It's the wrong era, the wrong time to be homeless right now. It really is. And if you can get out of it, get out of it, because you don't want to be homeless when once 2027, 2026, 2028, 2029, 2030 come, because it's going to be probably almost damn near impossible to get a place. But people that's struggling right now with housing, people that's homeless, people that's living below average, this is the year, this is the time, this year, next year, to get your shit together and get out of homelessness, because you not, these years coming up, you do not want to be homeless. Property rent is going to go up, wages is going to stay the same. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spend too much time on this video. I want to say peace to all my gods and goddesses and all righteous families on the earth. And y'all have a great one. This is the minor god, the man, MarcoJah. And I'll see y'all on another episode. I love y'all. Peace.